Namaskar. I'm going to talk today about creating inclusive classrooms. Friends, if we look around ourselves and look closely at children in our schools, we know there are children who are very happy in our schools and come to school with a stride in their walk, whereas there are others who cannot really walk in like other children, and there are some who are in school but are not studying as well as we know they are capable of. There are other children who are not in school. We also know that there are children who join school very enthusiastically, but slowly, within no time, they leave our school systems. We are concerned about all those children who are in our schools studying well. We want them to study better. Those who are not in our schools should join our school systems and also complete their education. And we're also concerned about those who are never seeing the gate of a school. So, in order to do that, let's see what does our constitution and our legal position on this issue. The Constitution says that every child has the fundamental right, at the age of 6 to 14 years, to be in our school systems. The legal acts also have the same position. The RTE Act, for example, says that a child must get education in his or her neighborhood. The Right to Persons with Disability Act goes further to strengthen the position and says that we must learn to teach all children, including those with disabilities. Clearly, the focus is that every child should get access into our regular school system and be able to grow and blossom in the school according to his or her potential. Now, if this is our understanding from what our acts tell us and what the Constitution says, we need be very sure about how to do this. Often, many think that it's okay if some children are not able to see as well as others and have a visual difficulty. Why should we bring them in our schools? Why can't we take them to special schools? Let them study and learn how to write the script, which is the Braille script. Let them learn how to move around in the surroundings in separate schools along with other children who are also visually challenged. Well, it may appear to be all right, but just for a minute, friends, think about what happens to them when they finish their schooling. When they finish their schooling, they have to be with us in our society. They have to learn to board a bus. They have to go to the same shop to buy their things. They have to get into the same metro. They have also to be able to find jobs along with other children in our society. So, when these children have to come and be part of our society, our acts and our Constitution clearly says this will be possible only if they grow and learn with other children together. This is also what is said in our international mandates, and we are signatories to that. So, therefore, friends, you teachers, teacher educators, parents, and all the other stakeholders who are listening to us and viewing this video need to understand that we need to teach these children along with other children, and they have a right to be in the same classrooms as other children. So, what is needed is that you and I have not to be judgmental about these children. We have not to say you do not have this skill. We have to realize that we need to teach them despite the fact that they may not have the skill that we want them to have. So, the important thing to understand is that we need to change our system. We don't need to be judgmental about children's performance. We need to look within and plan teaching and learning for children in a manner that all children can learn. So, three fingers are pointing at us and not that one finger that goes to the child. That's the cornerstone of inclusion. And how can this happen? That's the question then, that if inclusion is something that we have to follow, which I've just given you a rationale why we should, how can we go about doing it? First and foremost, we must remember that we need to look at the three finger that point at us, and therefore we need to have a positive attitude. We need to have an attitude that compels us to plan for everybody, that compels us to think that the child has to be given equal opportunities to study along with other children. So therefore, once we have this positive attitude towards diversity, we will work towards it. We need to remember that every child can learn. We have to be sensitive to the differences amongst children. We have to appreciate all children. Every child has strengths. Of course, they may have weaknesses as well. We need to sensitize other children about these strengths and weaknesses. We need to understand that sometimes we all are not too good with something and we all are very good with something. So once we are all sensitized about each other's strengths and weaknesses, we don't look at weaknesses with a special focus and try to laugh at the child or to make fun of it. We need to accept that there are social cultural differences. We don't all come from the same families. We have parents who are different, who are in different professions, who have different income sources, etc., etc. So teachers need to accept these variations. Teachers also need to remember that it's all right to be different. I'm talking of all teachers around us. We need to help teach children to participate in the learning process and feel wanted in the class. Do not compare children. The moment we compare them, we tend to make them feel that one is inferior and the other is better. We have also to remember that we have certain gendered and stereotypical learnings. We need to unlearn them. And there's no harm saying, I have them, I need to change. And we also need to encourage others to change these attitudes that they may have. We have learned in NCERT over the years that adopting the universal design for learning is very useful. We have done a lot of pioneering work in this area, and we know that that's the way forward. It's a way of teaching and learning which accommodates the learning differences amongst children. It recognizes that no one single size fits all. It also recognizes that teachers and learners have to work together to set individual goals in the class. We need to provide continuous feedback to children. We need to have flexible setups with different spaces for children. Children do not all have to write an answer to the question we ask. There must be multiple options to complete assignments available to children. We must provide accessible material to children. If I cannot read print and you don't give me a book in Braille, then you are at fault, not the child. We need to provide opportunities where children can convert text to speech. We need digital material. We need text to speech material. All this is available on NCERT website. We have worked very hard and we have got this. You have to just go to our website, visit it, and you will see an array of adapted, suitable material that children can use across their needs. We also, teachers need to remember, you already are using different kinds of strategies. When we have children with disabilities and other needs in our class, we just need to become better teachers. We just need to use our common sense. And if we just put all fears aside and just use our teaching skills in a more alert and need-based manner, we will be able to meet the needs of all children. I just end by saying that if we are teaching, for example, languages to children, there is no harm if all children are sensitized towards, well, I write my answer, another child can write the answer in Braille script. Yet another child can use sign language to give an answer. Now, all these three are acceptable in a classroom. That classroom is inclusive and not exclusive to the children who has a hearing difficulty or who has visual difficulties. You also have lots of opportunities for using ICT to help children to write if they have difficulties in writing. In mathematics, sometimes you know that children who may not be able to see will not be able to get immediate understanding of spatial concepts. So you need to support them to do that. All these things that I'm telling you just make you a better teacher, make you a relaxed teacher, make you a happy teacher. The moment you are a happy, relaxed, and a teacher loved by children, inclusion will happen. That's all we have to think about. Do not mystify inclusion. Do not think that I have not been trained in inclusive education and I will not be able to handle the differences amongst children. Just take help from each other, ask each other what are the ways that you adopt to meet diverse needs, and you have the answers for creating inclusive classrooms. It's been a journey for us in NCERT to build inclusion. I'm sure it will be a similar journey for you. It's a very rewarding journey. If you haven't jumped into it, we encourage you to take a plunge, and we are with you. We'll hold your hand and we'll work towards meeting the needs of every child. Remember, we cannot leave any child behind. Every child has the right to be in the class. We need to create inclusive environments for them. Thank you.